Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon here on YouTube. And then I post it over to Facebook. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up. Click on that. It will have therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. Okay. So again, I want to give a great big thank you to the participants in Las Vegas last weekend. That was awesome. Thank you guys so much. I am so glad that Susanna and I could help you guys. This is what I love. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, getting some stuff out of the way. These beauties are available on Amazon. They are also available on Mercury. What is it? It's mercury.com/shop. So you can get an autographed copy there, or you can just go to Amazon. You can get them on Audible, etc., etc., etc. Also, Shahida Arabi. Love this book. Love, 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 love. If you were raised by a narcissist, this is an excellent book. She's got another book out too that I really like too. So any of her books are really, really great. So Healing the Adult Children of Narcissists by Shahida Arabi. She is awesome sauce. I love her. Okay. Also today, one other thing. The cruise is still available. So if you are interested in coming on the cruise, which is December 6th through the 9th, leaving out of Cape Canaveral, get a hold of mercury.com, Chris at mercury.com, MURCURI, and he will have all the information for you if you are still interested in doing that. There are still cabins available, so we can keep booking up until, basically the cruise leaves. So that's kind of cool and groovy. So there is that. Also, if you're interested in any of the events that I am doing, please check Eventbrite. Please check Eventbrite. I had people texting me or not texting me, but IMing me after the Las Vegas event going, oh my God, I'm in Vegas and I wanted to see you. And that was like Sunday night. I'm like, oh no, check Eventbrite, guys, because that has my whole schedule up through July, I believe. So go there. All right. So today, we need to talk about holiday Hoovers and boundaries. So while I am talking about this, I encourage you all to go buy the latest edition. It's the December edition of Psychology Today. And funny enough, they're talking about boundaries. And throughout this magazine, this is what I loved. They were talking about things like how narcissists have to believe their own lies in order to sell them. So it had a whole bunch of stuff of narcissism in here. And I was like, finally, they're getting it. So this is a great edition of this magazine. So go get it. It is the December edition of Psychology Today. Go get this one. It has a great thing on boundaries. It also has things on a psychopathic mother who lied to the family and ran up credit cards in everybody's names, which is something I probably need to talk about because they do that. So anyway, and how narcissists have to believe what they're lying about in order to sell the lie and make other people believe it. So I was like, this is fantastic. Yay. So anyway, great, great magazine. All right, so let us talk about, Hoovers and the holidays. So basically from Halloween, which just passed, from Halloween all the way through to Valentine's Day. This is usually when the Hoovers happen, either with the family trying to Hoover you back into the fold to get you to play games, or with romantic interest trying to Hoover you back so that they have somebody that's either, a villain or, another go round of the whole, let's do the whole abuse cycle thing. So let's talk about the different kinds of Hoovers there are. Not everybody thinks, not every single Hoover is what you think it is. Okay. So a lot of people think that the Hoover is the traditional, oh, baby, I've changed. I promise you it'll be better next time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is a Hoover. That is absolutely do that. But not every Hoover is that. Some Hoovers, and you got to be aware of these because they take you by surprise. They're like getting, T-boned at an intersection. It's like, where the hell did that come from? So some Hoovers are of the hit and run, fuck you variety, trying to hook you back into arguing with them, defending yourself so that you can show that they're wrong and so that you don't feel crazy. So I want to just make it really clear. Not every Hoover is a baby, I'll change. Some of the Hoovers are of the, I'm going to pick a fight with you. I'm going to accuse you of X, Y, and Z, and I expect you to respond back to me. Those are Hoovers too, guys. I just want to make that perfectly clear. And since we are coming up on Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and eventually Valentine's Day, you're going to have disordered family members do the whole guilt trip. They're going to do the whole you should, you have to, you must kind of Hoovers, things like that. So this is what I wanted to talk about, because this all plays back into boundaries. If we had been raised by sane parents, none of you would be listening to this channel, and I would be running a bed and breakfast somewhere in Vermont. But since we are all here and I am doing this channel and we have been raised by cuckoo for Cocoa Puff parents, if we were raised by healthy parents, they would have taught us boundaries. They would have given us a sense of self, okay? It's all interconnected. I had somebody ask me a question on this morning. They're like, well, which book do I start with? Do I start with the inner child? Do I start with the self-esteem? Do I start with PTSD? What do I do? And I said, you pick whichever one is the least threatening that you can get through. And if you need to, you switch between the different books. Why? Because boundaries are all interconnected with self-esteem, with the inner child, and with the abuse that we went through. Oh, it's a lot. So when we are raised in a relatively healthy family, we have a parent or a caregiver that mirrors back to us our worth. Okay, that's how we learn self-esteem. So a good healthy mom or dad is the one that goes, oh, hi, good morning, how are you? Have a great day. I give you permission to excel or whatever. They're the ones that have that wonderful, happy voice. If our parents were abusers, however, they tell us what shits we are. How dare we exist? How dare we burden them with wanting breakfast when we're 3 years old? That happens, guys. So we learn very quickly who we are based on what our parents tell us. Unfortunately, they are the first people we fall in love with. And if they are abusers, boy, howdy, they groom us and they set us up for having no boundaries and no self-esteem. So I need you guys to all get on the same page here. Boundaries, self-esteem, healthy inner child, all interconnected. They are all one. So you must work on all of those in order to have good, healthy boundaries. Now, when we are coming up against the Hoover, the Christmas Hoover, the Thanksgiving Hoover, the Sunday dinner Hoover, okay, and I'm talking families here, and I'm going to talk romantic stuff in a minute. But when we come up against that, generally what those types of families do, what abusive families do, is they do the whole guilt trip. So remember, listen to me now, believe me later. If a relationship has got fear, obligation, like they're telling you, you owe me, and if you don't, I'm going to punish you. That's the fear and the obligation. You know, the fear is being punished, right? Fear, obligation, or guilt. Oh, I do all of this for you. You never right. You never cool. That whole thing. Fear, obligation, and guilt. Then that is an unhealthy relationship and you want nothing to do with it. You are under no obligation. Listen to me now. Believe me later. You are under no obligation to go spend time with people you do not want to. I don't care if they're family or not. The big question to ask yourself is, if you were not related to these people, would you go out of your way to spend time with them? If the answer is no, then we are going to have to do something different, like not spend time with them. Now, how do we get rid of the fear, the obligation, and the guilt? It's self-esteem. People who love themselves don't put up with people who don't love you. Does that make sense? So it's a boundary thing. So here's the deal. When we are raised by abusers, we get taught really quickly, no, there's no boundaries. No, you as the target have no privacy. No, you cannot say no, but the abuser can say no. The abuser can say no until the cows come home and there's no consequences. But if you say no, holy crap in a bucket. Do you see where I'm going with that? So the biggest thing that we as survivors of abuse have to get over is the idea that the word no is bad. Let me just say that again. We have got to get over the idea that the word no is bad, okay? What we get set up with is codependency, right? They tell us, no, you can't say no. No, you have to make me happy. No, it's your job. It's your job. It's your job. You need to caretake my emotions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We then grow up groomed to be fearful of the word no, because if we say no to the abuser, what happens? They abuse us. They punish us for disappointing them, or they make it known what a disappointment we are to them, or how disappointed they are, or whatever. So that is the tool in trade of abusers, is the whole shaming, guilt tripping, blaming, fearful, I'm going to punish you, that whole thing. Fear, obligation, guilt. Don't fall for it. You must get okay with the idea that the word no is good. So everybody raise your right hand. I, fill in your name, do solemnly swear that I give myself permission to say no and mean it. And it's okay. Why? Because I, whoever your name is, say so. Does that make sense? That is what I want you guys to do. Because we get this whole idea that it's not okay, it's not okay, it's not okay, it's not okay, can't say no, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you can say no. And they are going to have whatever emotions that they're going to have about it. So let's say that they're starting to guilt trip you over Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is going to be in what, 2 weeks? Something like that, 3 weeks. So, okay, they've already started. Well, why can't you come over? So, okay, here's the deal. Here's how I do a Thanksgiving invitation. Hey, we're having Thanksgiving dinner. It'll be at 6. If you'd like to drop by, we'd love to see you. Period. And if they say no, I go, okay. No guilt, no why, no, and here's the thing. What arrogance is there of an abuser? Well, they're arrogant to begin with, but what arrogance do they have to go, well, why? Why can't you come? Why aren't you coming? Well, it's none of their fucking business. It's not. But we don't dare say that to them, right? Because if it's family, they're going to go on a smear campaign, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The biggest thing is, guys, when a Hoover happens, you've got to stop over explaining yourself. So along with no, and I mean it, like you get to mean it. It's okay. I give you permission. It's all right to say no. Is that we have got to stop over explaining to them why. It's none of their fucking business why we're not going to Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's or Sunday dinner or whatever. Or let's hit the fuck you, hit and run fuck you Hoovers. What I see a lot of abusive exes, male and female, guys, I want to make this very clear. It's not, it's not that women are always the victim or men are the aggressor. It can be both. What I have seen both do is that they do the hit and run fuck you to an ex around the holidays, especially if there's children involved. And it's usually a hook. It's usually a nasty. It's usually a respond to me or defend yourself. I need you to defend yourself. Why did you do this? Da 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 da. Well, you've got the child on this day, and the court papers say ba 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 ba, and the court papers don't, and they know that. And so they're hooking. They're fishing. They're trying to reel you in with a hit and run fuck you. You must get to the point, this is called detachment, you must get to the point where you let them have whatever little weird ideas about who you are they have, and it doesn't matter. All that matters is you stick to your guns, you say no, you go by the letter of whatever the court agreement is for custody, and you don't play into the tit for tat. That is what they want. That is another Hoover that they do. Families can do that too. Now, let's talk about the death Hoover. So, what some of these assholes will do is they will do a death Hoover. Either they will say that they are dying, and believe me, I have known narcissists that were dying for years. In other words, they weren't dying. This is what they would tell everybody. Oh, I'm dying. I'm old. I'm this. I'm that. Ba 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 ba. Or they do somebody in the family has died, and then they send you a text or they send you a voicemail. Oh, I just wanted you to know, hoping again that you will reestablish contact with them. Don't do it, Frenchie. It's gonna hurt you. It is. Listen to me on this. They are doing this on purpose. And half the time when some member of the family dies, not everybody, well, in some families, it is going to be all flying monkeys, but not every single member of the family is going to be a flying monkey. Somebody will have notified you and said, hey, just wanted to let you know that, Uncle so-and-so is dead and the funeral's on, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great, cool. Thank you very much. and then you have the option of either going or not going. And again, that opens up a whole can of worms, because then you have to decide, is it worth it? Is it going to be safe to go to the funeral to pay respects to this family member? Or is it going to be a bunch of flying monkeys? And you know what? I got along with Uncle so-and-so really great, and I will just do my own honoring of their life. I don't need to go to the funeral. Funerals are for the living, not for the dead, because clearly when you're dead, you're dead. So, it's like you got to decide what is going to support you best. But they do that. They do that with the hopes that, I know, they don't know that so-and-so's dead, so let me tell them, and hopefully they're going to email back or text back or whatever. So basically what I'm trying to say is that abusers will look for any excuse to get back into your life, because it's the drama triangle. I'm sure we've talked about that before, and if we haven't, I'm going to talk about it now. The drama triangle always needs a victim, always needs a savior, and always needs a villain. Okay, there needs to be this drama triangle, and they will do somersaults to keep that drama triangle going, which is why when we get healthy and recognize, oh, drama triangle, I need to stop, right? This is not healthy. I don't like it. And we step out of that scapegoat role. The rest of the family members come unglued. Why? Because somebody has to fill it. Somebody has to be the villain. Somebody absolutely has to be the villain. And so they will try to figure out who's going to fit into that role next. And once the other family members realize that that's what's happening, they are desperate to get you as the scapegoat back into that role so the heat is off of them. So if you have gone no contact with your family and you recognize that there was the drama triangle going on, stay the hell out. Okay, now let's talk about building boundaries. You must practice the word no. You must. And you must do it in small situations and in large situations. When you say no, you will have the desire to explain why. You must stop yourself. You must stop the verbal vomit. You must stop giving them so much information. You really must. Oh, hold on. Okay, there it is. So my connection is being weird here. Okay. So you must stop giving them so much information. You must stop telling them why. None of their damn business. So here's what I recommend for the holidays. Okay. You start practicing the word no now with small stuff, with little stuff from other people. Okay. And you let friends and family know that are safe. I'm going to start practicing boundaries. I'm going to start practicing the word no. I am going to start practicing, etc. Okay. You're going to feel weird saying no because it's never been okay. That's why I told you in the beginning, please raise your right hand. Give yourself permission. It is okay to say no. And it's okay to say no to things that you don't want to do. It's okay to say no to things that you don't have time for, okay? If somebody is going to punish you, damn you, make you feel guilty, or give you some sort of shame, blame, guilt trip because you said no, taking care of yourself, they are not your tribe. They are not your tribe. Get rid of them. This is a great way to figure out who your tribe is and who isn't. Now, I can hear everybody saying this already. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this is so scary. Yes, it is, because we're doing something completely different. We are doing something that has been forbidden in our family, saying no. We are doing something that is going to put the responsibility back onto the abuser or back onto whoever asked the question, and we're not used to that. And it feels really weird. It feels very funky. It feels disloyal. I've had people say, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm being disloyal. No, you are being loyal to you. You must. You must put yourself first. If you really truly cannot babysit somebody, don't babysit somebody. Don't say you can and then do it and then be resentful. That's good evening and welcome to continuing the pattern. You don't want to do that. If you don't want to do something, you can say no, and it's okay. Will other people be disappointed? Yes, they will. And not your problem. The other thing you can do is you can write a resignation letter. I love this. This is what I tell people that really have a hard time with no. I am going to write a resignation letter. I resign. It's not my job to caretake your emotions. It's not my job to take care of you. It's not my job to make sure that you're happy 100% of the time. It's not my job. I quit. The benefits suck. I'm not doing it. Bye-bye. And then you burn it. And you remind yourself, it's like, it's okay for you to say no. And it's not your job to make sure that the abuser is okay. It's not. So let's get into some practicalities here. So we got Thanksgiving coming up. This is what I see when you've got a family or two of origin that have got disorders going on. A healthy, normal family recognizes that when a couple gets together, they're going to create their own traditions, correct? And yes, you know, if they're close, they can go and have Thanksgiving dinner or stop by in the afternoon or whatever, and that's fine. What I see happening with disordered families, though, is they take this poor couple and they put all of this pressure on them. No, 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 no. You must be with us for Thanksgiving. No, 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 no. You must be with us for Christmas. Stop it. No, they mustn't do anything. They must create their own traditions. And especially when they start having their own children. It's like, no, stop. Get your hooks out of them, you fucking abusers. So if you are a family or a couple and the family of origin is pulling you, you know, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, this Sunday dinners, blah, 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 blah. Start saying no. And what I suggest is tell them you're going to be out of town. You don't have to really be out of town. You just tell them you're going to be out of town and then do Thanksgiving or Christmas the way you want to. It's none of their fucking business. Do you see where I'm going with that? You got to start drawing boundaries. And if you're not strong enough to say no up front, then you say, fine, we're going to be out of town. We've got other plans. I'm sorry. We're not going to be available. We're not going to be around. And then I tell people, don't answer the door. You know, it's like, have your Thanksgiving, have your Christmas, or do really honest to God, be out of town. Go do something that's just yours, your own tradition, your own way of doing Thanksgiving, or your own way of doing Christmas, or your own way of doing Sunday dinners. You can start saying no, and it's okay. It is okay. So you got to start planning for how you're going to handle these holidays, because the guilt trips are already happening. I'm hearing it from people everywhere. They're like, oh my God, they're already starting with the guilt trips, blah, 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 blah. Here's the deal, guys. How they are feeling, not your problem. That is your mantra. Not my problem. Not your circus. Not your monkeys. They are not your problem. And even if they are your monkeys, it's not your circus. Be done. You do not have to go spend time with these people. People who are of our tribe do not do shame, blame, guilt trip, obligation, fear, punishment, all of that crap. That is the realm of abusers, okay? So what romantic partners do during this time period, okay? So the holidays between Halloween and, you know, Valentine's Day, what they love to do is the whole let's take a walk down memory lane. And they know that if you have not been in recovery for very long, because yes, you are recovering from an addiction to the intermittent positive rewards, right? I love you, I hate you, I love you, hate you, love, 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 hate, 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 et cetera, which is just the same as a heroin addiction. Hello. Yeah, then you're going to be in the beginning phases of recovery and withdrawal, and they know it. And so they wait an appropriate amount of time, and then they wait for the perfect excuse, which is usually Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, something. Don't you remember that time that we did fill in the blank? Okay. And wasn't that wonderful when? Or, gosh, I really miss you. I don't have you to spend New Year's Eve with, or some fucking bullshit that they will have come up with. Hang on. So you want to be very careful of that. This is when you need to write down your list of deal breakers, and you need to write down every rotten thing that they did to you and have it somewhere where you can see it, so that if and when the abuser tries to do the holiday Hoover, you can go, yeah, not responding. They did this to me. Look what's on my deal breaking list. Oh, geez, almost all of the things that this person did to me. Not okay. Not responding. This is the other thing. Abusers have trained us to respond immediately, okay? And that needs to stop. You need to stop responding immediately. You do not owe them anything. You don't owe them an immediate response. In fact, what I suggest is if they text you or if they email you, you sit on it for 24 to 48 hours. It's not your job to comfort them or to make them comfortable. In fact, they're going to be crawling out of their skin because you're not responding, because they're used to you doing that. And fine, let them, because then their mask is going to drop and you're going to see exactly what they're up to. So when they do this barrage of texts or this barrage of emails or whatever, don't respond immediately. Think about it. What do you want to say? And only respond to things that actually have to do with, if you're in a custody agreement, the kids, or if there's no custody agreement, don't respond at all. You're under no obligation. You owe them goose egg, okay? That is the big thing I want to remind you guys of, is that they have trained us to do this immediate response, immediate whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, worst case scenario, let's say you accept Thanksgiving dinner, okay? You go home. Mom, dad, the sisters, the brothers, whatever, are doing the emotional Watusi. They're behaving like little ass munches. What do? You suddenly have to go home. You are under, again, no obligation to stay. You are under no obligation to stay. You do not have to stay through the whole meal. You can get there, and if it looks like it's going to be really familiar, like, okay, when I tell my clients, we're working on communication skills, I often teach them timeouts, right? So things start looking really familiar. I go, time out it. You need to figure out why this conversation is going right back to something that you know exactly how it's going to end. Time out it. So I teach them timeouts, and I've talked about this before. So with a family, though, if you're there and you're watching the circus and the monkeys are running rampant and you're like, oh, this is, they haven't changed. No, they want an audience and they want me to be the bad guy. You know what? I'm suddenly not feeling very good. I think I'm going to go home. And you go home. No guilt. And in fact, what you need to do is you need to write your guilt a letter. Dear guilt, fuck the fuckity fuck out of fucking fuck you asshole. I refuse to feel guilty for taking care of myself. Fuck you. Fuck you sideways with an unlubricated baseball bat. I'm not doing it. And that's what you need to do. It is okay for you to take care of you. You have the right to say no. You have the right to remain silent, because believe me, anything and everything you say at the dinner table will be used against you. Do you see where I'm going with that? So yeah, if you're in a situation and it looks really familiar, get out. You can leave. You're not a tree. Get an Uber. Go. You are not stuck. Okay. And this is what drives me crazy, is when people are like, oh, well, but I need to take care of Granny, or I need to take care of this poor person, or I need to take care of that person. No, you don't. What you can do afterwards is you can contact Granny and say, Granny, would you like to go to therapy with me so that we can work on this? Because I really want to teach you the tools for how to say no to these people. Okay. It's not your job. It's not your job to caretake a crazy family. It is not. So boundaries begin with self-esteem. I've got one more minute, damn it. Boundaries begin with self-esteem. People who love themselves say no, mean no, and do not feel guilty about it. They also don't over-explain themselves. So we've got to get out of the habit of over-explaining, or trying to fawn. Over-explaining is part of fawning. I don't know if you guys realize that or not, but when we start over-explaining and going, well, the reason I have to go home is because of, we're fawning. We're giving into them. We're fawning. We're trying to appease them. So we've got to stop that. So listen to me now, believe me later. Disease to Please, Harriet Breaker. Read it, live it, do it. Any and all of Melanie Beattie's books on codependency. Read them, live them, do it. Because you've got to get out of that idea that you must take care of the abuser and that you must take care of everybody in the family and that you can't take care of yourself. You have the right to say no. So self-esteem is the basis for being not codependent, being able to say no and mean it, and being able to say no and mean it and not feel guilty. So Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor, Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi, The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker, Any and All Books by Melanie Beattie, or anything on codependency. Read it, do it. Get with a therapist, work on it. You have the right to say no. You do. And you have the right to not feel guilty. Why? Because you say so, and I say so, and anybody who's healthy says so. Okay, let's take some questions. That sounds good. Where am I? Okay, how do I excuse myself from family drama during the holidays if I need to? You just don't participate. So like, let's say something is happening. Oh gosh, really don't feel that good. I think I'm going to go home and lay down. Or I have this horrible headache. I got to go. It's great seeing all you guys. Love you. Kiss, kiss. Don't change or do change, whatever. And then leave. You owe them nothing. You owe them nothing. So, or you just don't go to it in the beginning. If you know it's going to be drama, be gone. Treat yourself. I mean, this is what I love is when clients of mine get it and they go, oh my God, I don't have to go home for the holidays. And I go, yes, you don't. You absolutely don't. What are you going to do? You know what? I think I'm going to go to Colorado, or I'm going to go to New Mexico, or I'm going to go, hide in my house and tell everybody I'm gone, or I'm going to go book a staycation here in town, which is great. And I'm going to take care of myself and I'm going to sleep in and I'm going to get room service. Great. Do it. Do it. You don't have to go to the drama in the first place. You owe them nothing and they don't get an explanation. Sorry, I'm busy. I already have plans. Well, where are you going? What are you doing? No, I'm busy. I already have plans. Thanks for asking. That's what I tell people, that when they ask stuff that's inappropriate, I'm like, wow, thank you for asking. And I never give them an answer. Why? Because it's none of their fucking business. All right. So how do I calm or ease the tension and anxiety I have going to holiday family functions? Well, you can either just not go, which is what I recommend, or if you feel you have to, like say, for example, there are nieces, nephews, great nephews that you really want to see and you want to have interaction with. You just have to do a little bit of acceptance therapy, which is they are who they are. They are going to behave like ass munches. And if they do X, Y, and Z, I will leave. I will not put up with abuse. I will not put up with drama. I will not put up with fill in the blank. And then you stick to your guns. And it's really easy to be like, okay, well, I can spend this amount of time with you. And then I promised, my friends, Jenny and Harold, that I would go spend time with them afterwards at 6 o'clock. I got to leave by 5:30. You come up with stuff. You do. So easing the tension, part of it is you just have to acknowledge and accept that they are who they are and they're not going to change. And the holidays is not going to suddenly make it, Jimmy Stewart and Donna, what the heck her name was, in It's a Wonderful Life, that they're not going to be normal. They're not going to be, kind or gentle or sane or anything else. You just kind of have to go and go, there's look at that. There's the 3-ring circus. Oh, isn't that fascinating? Do I really want to stay here? No, I don't. Gotta go, guys. Bye. You have the right to say no. You don't have to go in the first place if you do not want to. All right. I was discarded by narcissistic ex about this time of year. Right now, I'm feeling triggered, particularly when I'm alone. How do I deal with this? First and foremost, get a therapist. Get a therapist. You need to work on self-esteem. You need to work on what was your stuff and what was their stuff. And I can guarantee you most of it was their stuff. You know what I'm saying? And how to bulletproof yourself is you work on the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. You go see a therapist, you work on self-esteem. You do the Inner Child Workbook. Why did you get involved with this person in the first place? Is this a pattern? Have you dated other abusers? What's going on? And when we're alone, it's mastering our inner thoughts. So how we are spoken to becomes our inner critic. It either becomes our inner cheerleader, which is wonderful if it's healthy, or it becomes our inner critic if the family situation was not, or if we were in an abusive relationship. We tend to integrate those negative comments into our own brain. So you have to tune into, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Why are you beating yourself up? What is this alone stuff? Because here's the truth, guys. We come into this world alone. We go out of this world alone. And in the meantime, we spend pretty much 100% of the time with ourselves. Think about it. Wrap your head around that. So if you don't like being alone, then what is this thing saying to you? How is it lying to you? What is it? What lies is it telling you? Oh, well, everybody else has got a couple. Da, 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 da. No, not everybody else has got a couple. Thank you for your input. Shut the fuck up. Why? Because I say so. I like myself and I like my alone time. And it's only been a year. I am healing. And I am not going to dive into a relationship just to shut you up. I will shut you up on my own. You know what I'm saying. So do you see where I'm going with that? So you've really got to pay attention to, what is this saying to you? So when we have good self-esteem is just that tiny little voice inside of our head saying, good job. I like you. keep going. Cool. You know, it's nice, it's kind, it's gentle. Self-esteem is just us telling us that we like ourselves. I can spend days by myself and be perfectly fine. Probably weeks, you know? I mean, it is because I tell myself good things. I'm not sitting there, oh God, why did you say that? And oh God, why did you do that? And oh my God, everybody's coupled up and blah, 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 you know, and I'm not doing that. Granted, I am married, but it's like, you know, you got to figure out, what are you telling yourself? What are you telling yourself? Are you being mean to you, or are you being kind to you? And if you do not have a list of deal breakers, you write them down. Write down every rotten thing that they did to you and what you will not put up with. Okay, you got to make yourself bulletproof. So get with a good therapist, work on self-esteem, work on codependency, work on the inner child, and get that rock solid so that when you do spend time alone, even during this time of year, which is a trigger for a lot of people, abused or not. I mean, the holiday seasons are hard on a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. So when you do have to spend time alone, that this thing is your best friend. This thing is like, hey, let's go for a walk. Hey, I really like you. Hey, I know, why don't we watch, you know, whatever movie that makes you happy? You know, Last Starfighter, for example. John and I watched that last night. You know, I mean, it's like you think of things that are kind and gentle and soothing and that type of thing. If this thing is harsh, mean, vicious, putting you down, what if, that is your inner critic, and that has got to get handled. So start working on that. Okay, my narc in-laws do the character assassination thing every year at Christmas. Oh God. My husband knows it, but he doesn't fight for me. And once they depart, all is forgotten. What should I do? You must get into a couples therapist now. Last year would have been good. So here's the deal. He's got to come to grips with what he's doing is not okay. Because by staying silent, he is saying, essentially, I agree with them. He is. So you must get into a good couples therapist that understands smear campaigns, that understands power and control issues, because that's what this is about. And you must bring it up in couples therapy. Hey, this is not okay. I don't feel like you're on my side, and I'm not going to put up with it anymore. I'm just not. It's like, either you stand up for me and you shut it down, or they don't come over here. Period. Period. Peri-fucking-id. Okay? That's just bullshit. And I find that with a lot of sons and daughters, both, of narcissistic parents, is that they're terrified to stand up to the abusive mom or dad. And so they allow a smear campaign to go on while they are here. Don't allow it. Don't allow it. Get into a couples therapist yesterday. Yesterday. Do it and get it done. Start working on this, because I'll tell you something. Either this gets handled or it's going to destroy your relationship, basically. All right, because you need to trust your partner. And if your partner is not standing up for you and not taking care of business, you know, and not shutting down smear campaigns, no. And especially since you're telling me this is happening every single year at Christmas. So that's telling me that this is a pattern, that this is going on, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the only thing different I would say to this is the difference is that when family and friends come to you and say, hey, your partner is abusive and this, that, and isolating you and doing this, doing that, that's different. Okay. This is not the family coming at you and going, well, I don't like the way you do the dishes, and I don't like the way you do da 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 da. Do you see where I'm going with that? So yeah, that needs to be shut down. Absolutely. Okay. What is our next question? I don't see it up here. Why do I not see it up here? Let me see where it's going. Okay. Dude. Whoops. Nope. Ha! Having a bit of problems with my computer right now. So, okay. So one of the questions is, what do you do with the fear? What do you do with the fear? All right. So when you have a great deal of fear, it's because of what's happened in the past. So our amygdala looks for danger, right? So it's going, oh my God, this reminds me of what happened last year, or reminds me of what happened when I was a small child, or this is what happens when, you know, whatever. So our amygdala is registering, oh my God, there's danger, there's something going on. So when we are dealing with fear, you have to decipher whether that fear is real or whether it's just your amygdala trying to keep you safe. So if, for example, let's use the previous question. If it's the family coming over and smearing, well, then your amygdala has got a damn good reason to be terrified, okay, because it's happened before. But let's say that you're thinking about going over for Thanksgiving, or you're thinking about going over for Christmas, and you're terrified because you know how they behave, but you need to do it because you got kids, or little kids or nieces and nephews or whatever, but you're still afraid. Then you have to remind your amygdala, it's like, hey, we can get an Uber. Hey, we can leave. Hey, we don't have to stay. It's okay. So you deal with the fear by acknowledging it. You never want to resist it. So remember, when you resist a thought, okay, this is entering the realm of thought stopping here. When a thought pops up and it causes us fear, you cannot resist it. If you resist it, then it's going to persist. It's going to come roaring back bigger and badder. So you don't want to go, no, 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 I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking about it. Because what am I thinking about the whole time? I'm thinking about that thought. But if you go, okay, here's this thought. There is some validity to it. Okay, I acknowledge mom and dad are a little crazy. If mom gets too drunk, it might get ugly. Okay, I will need to leave before that point. Yep, thought, you're absolutely right, but I got a plan. Thank you for playing. Bye-bye. So you don't invite it in for coffee and let it stay for breakfast. You also don't ignore it and resist it and say, no, 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 because that's all you're going to be thinking about the whole time. You come up with a plan, how to deal with it if it happens, and you go, okay, thank you. I've got a plan. Bye-bye. Bye now, right when you get work. Bye-bye. That whole thing. Okay. What's up with all the talking and storytelling? Mine tells stories constantly. Can you talk a bit about how much sociopaths talk? Well, talking and storytelling. So part of that is a learned behavior, because I know a lot of targets of abuse that do that as well. So they get stuck in their story and they tell their story over and over again about being a victim. And I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. It's like, no, you're not. Well, you've been victimized for sure. And now here are all the tools so that you can take your power back. So talking and storytelling, if it's a sociopath, let's talk about that particular ilk. Narcissists and sociopaths can be charming. Okay, charming sociopath, charming narcissist. They charm, they charm, they charm. And so they tell these big stories where, of course, they're always the center of attention and the hero in the story and all of this good stuff. So it's a way to make themselves aggrandized. It's a way to make themselves look good. And if they're telling stories constantly, that says to me that they don't know how to relate to other human beings, because really in a relationship, in a healthy one, it's give and take. You listen, you talk, you listen, you talk, you listen, you talk, you listen, you talk. You ask questions about the other person. You show interest. You see where I'm going with that. But sociopaths, or it could also be somebody who's got social anxiety. They will just because it's all planned out in their head what they're going to say. So the storytelling and the talking, if it's to aggrandize, that's a sociopathic thing to do. That's a narcissistic thing to do. If it's like, oh, look at me, look how fabulous I am, blah, blah, then, and it's charming, then yeah. And if it's exaggerated, then yeah. And funny, this magazine actually talks about that in here. So you may want to get this Psychology Today, December edition. It talks about how they talk and storytelling and how they need to believe what they're saying in order to sell their story. So yeah, they can do that. Absolutely. What happens to a narc when they are publicly caught and they can't deny it? Oh, it's not pretty. It's not. They usually will still deny it. And there's a huge amount of narcissistic injury that has been inflicted. If they're publicly caught and they can't deny it, then they'll come up with some other excuse or reason, or it's somebody else's fault, or they will do the whole sobbing, tears, I'm so sorry, just like some of those religious guys that got caught, with prostitutes and, women that were not their wives, that kind of thing back in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, they'll do that. It's like, I have sinned before God. I'm so sorry. They're not sorry. So they'll do the crocodile tears, or they'll get angry. That's not true. That's not true. Where did you get your information? That's not true. Blah, blah, blah. Hang on. And they'll try to blame it on somebody else. They will never take responsibility for it. And if they do take responsibility for it, it's not true. They don't believe it. And they're doing the crocodile tears, and they're doing the whole, I'm going to look good by admitting my guilt, but I'm not really going to admit my guilt, and I'm going to blame it on Satan, or I'm going to blame it on, the girl or the guy or drugs or, whatever. They never take responsibility ever. And it does inflict a huge amount of narcissistic injury. Can you please provide some tips on dealing with the grief that comes from going no contact? So this time of year is really, really hard for people who have lost loved ones through death, suicide, no contact, things like that. When we go no contact, it is literally no different than dealing with a death. It is the death of the relationship. It is the death of how we related to the person. So this time of year is really, really hard on us if we've gone no contact, if we've lost somebody to suicide, if if somebody has died due to suicide, or if somebody has died of natural causes or whatever. This time of year is really, really hard. So the grief that comes from going no contact is exactly the same grief that comes from death, because it is the death. It is a loss. It is something that is no longer there anymore. So again, when the grief comes, you acknowledge it, you let it in if you need to, and cry and sob and write letters and do whatever you need to, and then you let it pass. You do not want it to take up residence with you. So you acknowledge it. It's like, yes, I miss this person. I miss, what they used to do. I miss being able to share the fun things with them. I miss being able to do this, that, and the other thing. But then you have to remind yourself, there's a reason you're no contact. Yes, I missed that person, but here's all the things that they also did to me. And you grieve, and you grieve, and you grieve, and you grieve, and you cry, and you write, and you get it out of your system. And it takes a long time. The hardest death that we will ever have to go through is the death of somebody who is still walking around in a body. So you just acknowledge it. This is hard. This is absolutely hard. This is exactly what we are going through. It is a death. It is the death of the relationship. It is the death of a friendship. It is the death of how we used to relate to each other. It is gone. It is no more. Oh my God, I'm going to go into the parrot sketch. So Monty Python, you youngsters won't get it. Anyway, the point is that we grieve, and it's no different than a death. So you allow it. You write letters. Dear so-and-so, wow, I thought you were this way, but wow, you were really this way. And then you make sure to write out all the rotten things they did to you. And then you burn it. And then you just allow yourself to feel. You allow yourself to feel. Don't resist it. You're going to have those moments when you're standing there at a department store Christmas display, and you're going to be like, damn, I wish mom and dad were sane. I wish we could have a normal Christmas. I wish I had a normal family. And then you'll feel sad. And that's normal. That's normal. If you didn't feel that way, I would be concerned. So you write, you burn letters, you allow yourself to cry, you allow yourself to get angry. Anger is part of grief. Hate to break it to you. You just allow whatever emotions come up, but also allow them to pass. Give yourself a time limit. All right, you know what? I'm going to give myself 20 minutes. I'm going to allow myself to fall apart completely. And at the end of the 20 minutes, I am going to take a deep breath, thank my emotions, and move forward with my day. That's what you're going to do. So it takes practice. That's what you're going to do. Oh, I cannot speak to my ex. In front of a judge, ex demands we talk. Judge agrees for the sake of kids. Lawyer says I need to respond to his text. How do I maintain boundaries while I'm forced to communicate? So, okay, in custody agreements, you do have to stay in touch with the ex. You do. You're going to be parallel parenting. You're not going to be co-parenting. You're going to be parallel parenting. So what the abusers will do is they will use the court just like this, and they'll say, excuse me, they'll say, well, you need to respond to my questions about the kids. Hold on. Well, yeah, you do need to respond to the questions about the kids, but you are under no obligations to respond to the rest of the email or the rest of the text. So you only respond to what is pertinent to the children. That is it. So if you want somebody to help coach you through that, Susanna Quintana at SusannaQuintana.com. She is your girl. She lived through that. She knows how to do that and how to train people, because she is a survivor of narcissistic abuse. And she will help you learn how to weed out and weed through the emails and the texts that have nothing to do with the kids. You only respond to what it has to do with the kids. That's it. Legally, that's it. That's all you need to do. So if he or she sends you a text and it's like this about the kids, but this about, a condemnation of who you are as a human being and blah, 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 and it has nothing to do with kids, you don't answer that. You only answer that. Does that make sense? So SusannaQuintana.com. She's your girl. She's your girl. Get with her. She can help you. All right. How do I get over the fear of being alone with my thoughts, especially when I am trying to process unpleasant memories? Okay. Unpleasant memories are important. They are, because it lets us know, okay, this happened. I don't want this. And this is, this whole situation is not what I want, but I do want this. So the fear of being alone, it's the fear of feeling. So think about it. When we are raised with an abuser, or not even just raised with an abuser, when we are with an abuser, they don't allow us to have emotions, guys. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but it's not okay for us to have any other emotion other than everything's fine. And you know what fine means in my world? Fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. So it's not fine. It's awful. But that's the only emotion that they will allow, is that you support whatever the abuser is feeling. If they're angry, they want you to go right along with it. And support them for being angry and throwing things at you or hitting you or whatever, because they're fucking assholes. So they don't allow real emotions. If you're having a genuine emotion, like if you're sad, they'll get angry at you. How dare you cry? How dare you make me feel some twinge of humanity? How dare you? That's their bullshit. They don't allow people to cry in front of them. They don't allow people to be angry. They don't allow people to be sad. They don't allow people to be happy, really, because then they'll ruin it. Oh, that's the other thing. Let us talk about that for a moment. Every single last one of these motherfuckers is going to try to ruin your holidays. Guarantee it. They're going to try to ruin it with the guilt trips. They're going to try to ruin it with the Hoovers, or you're going to get there and they're going to start a fight. These people cannot allow a holiday to be happy. They can't allow it. They won't. They won't allow it. Normal, healthy, happy people love holidays. I love holidays. I love Thanksgiving because I love cooking for people. It makes me very, very happy. So, but they don't do that. They want to ruin it. So they'll start a fight. They'll pick on something. They'll try to start a family feud right before Thanksgiving dinner, or they'll start it right around Christmas or whatever. This is why you don't want to be around them, guys. If you were not related to these people, would you have anything to do with them? And if the answer is no, act accordingly. Get out of town. Have your own Thanksgiving. Shut the door. Lock it. Don't answer it. Do you see where I'm going with that? So, yeah. So, all right. So fear of being alone, it's like, it's because of all the memories that we've had and we're not used to feeling. We're not used to feeling. Do you know how many of my clients, bless them, sit on my couch and go, well, no, I haven't done the homework yet. Okay, why? Well, because I started to do the inner child workbook and I started to feel. Wait a minute, that's good. That's good. That's what we want. We want you to feel. This is yay, good, yay, huzzah, feeling. And getting them on board with that feeling is okay is scary for them, because they've never been allowed to. And if they did feel good, it got ruined. So yeah, we are afraid of our emotions. We don't know how to deal with them because we were never allowed to deal with them healthy, normal ways. Okay. So you get over the fear of being alone with your thoughts, and especially when you're processing stuff, by allowing yourself to feel and validate what you are feeling. Everything you are feeling is 110% normal. Anger, you betcha. Sad, you betcha. Disappointed, you betcha. Loss, grief, yes. Feeling like you've wasted 20 years of your life, yes. But it was a learning lesson and you'll never do it again, and that's great. Awesome, let's reframe. Do you see where I'm going with that? It's like you're going to feel. And it's okay. And that's what we want. That's not only what we want, that's what we have to have. You have to feel it to heal it, guys. You have to feel it to heal it. Because if we don't feel it, we're not going to heal it. So acknowledge the fear. I'm terrified of. So one of the common fears that I get is, oh my God, I'm going to start crying and I'm never going to stop. And that's That's a common fear. I had that same fear when I was going through my therapy with my therapist back in the day when I was dealing with my dad. So the truth of the matter is you will stop because you'll finally dehydrate, but you'll stop. Or, I'm kidding, but that made me laugh. So it was like, yeah, you're right. I'll dehydrate. Okay. So, or you'll just stop naturally because the body will finally eventually go, okay, done for now. Okay. You'll stop crying. You will. And it feels terrible. It does. Crying is not fun. It's not my favorite thing to do. It's not. I would much rather laugh. That's why I like Monty Python and Mel Brooks and everything else funny. But it's needed. Crying is cathartic. Sadness is cathartic. The emotions are cathartic because we learn what we want and what we don't want, and what we did and what we can do differently now that we have the tools. So it's important to allow, just allow. The other thing of it is too, support group, support. If you do not have a therapist, get in with a damn good therapist. Get in with a damn good therapist and make sure that you have some sort of support. Now, I know that Shahida Arabi has a support group. I think it's online. Check her website, Shahida Arabi. She does a support group, I believe. And if she doesn't, I'll bet you she can direct you to one. So I know also that outofthefog.website has support groups. So yeah, that's what you want to do. So you got to let the fear, you got to tell the fear to go fuck itself. You do. It's like, yep, I'm going to be afraid. Yep, I'm going to have emotions. Yep, some of them are not going to be pleasant. Oh, well, I'm going to heal. Watch me heal. You've got to get that telling the fear to fuck off thing going. You do, because it will stop you. It will stop you from developing. It will stop you from doing the workbooks. It'll stop you from thinking. It'll stop you from processing. You got to push through it. Have support. Have somebody be a cheerleader for you. That is what I do for a lot of my clients. I cheerlead them. It's like, you've got this. This is fabulous. Yes, you're feeling fantastic. Keep going. I know it's scary. Keep going. Do you see where I'm going with that? So you got to just push through it and make sure you have a support group. Okay, how do I make the distinction between being okay with being alone or not and just becoming socially isolated? So socially isolated is like no friends, never going out, never socializing, never going to a movie, never, you're isolating. I like to spend a lot of time obviously writing because I'm trying to finish the next book, which I'm about halfway done with, and I like to spend time alone so I can, meditate and think and process and figure out what I'm going to be doing and this, that, and the other thing. But I also make sure to spend time with my friends. I do. It's like I go out with my buddy Lynn all the time and we go to movies, or I give my sister Terry a call and we talk over the phone for hours. It's like you always stay in touch with friends or safe family or whatever. You're always reaching out. You're always doing stuff, or they're reaching out to you, and it's a back and forth thing. If you're starting to become isolated and nobody's calling you and you're not calling anybody, that's not good. That's not good. I mean, it's great to be alone. It's great to spend time with yourself, but we are social animals, and it's really important for us to get out. It is. It's important for us to go walk in the sunshine. It's important for us to go see friends. It's important for us to go do goofy, fun things that have absolutely no relevance to anything else, because dear Lord, God knows we are all working as hard as we can on ourselves with all of the workbooks, with the therapy, with the support groups, with the mental gymnastics we have to do with an ex or whatever, especially if there's children involved. So allow yourself to have the ability to go do fun things with your friends that doesn't mean anything. It's just fun for fun's sake. So like yesterday, John and I went to the Rawson House here in Phoenix. It's a Victorian house that you can tour. 3 guesses about how thrilled I was. Oh my God. So, just fun. It doesn't have anything to do with psychology. It doesn't, make the world a better place or anything else. But we went and we had fun. And then we went to the planetarium afterwards, and it was just fun. So go do fun things. You've got to get out. You've got to go do fun things. You've got to take care of you. That is part of self-care. You don't want to isolate. You want to make sure that you're doing things with your friends. You want to make sure that you're hanging out with people you love. Super important. Okay, let's see. Do we have any more questions, or is that it for today? Oh, good Lord, it is 1 o'clock. Okay, I am going to call it good for today. So I hope this was helpful. Boundaries start from self-esteem, okay? Again, give yourself permission to say no and mean it. And if there is guilt, fear, or obligation, that is an abusive relationship. You do not have to stay with anybody that is abusive. You do not have to go have Thanksgiving with anybody that's abusive, or Christmas, or New Year's, or anything else. Be aware of all the different types of Hoovers. Some of the Hoovers are going to be nasty, trying to get you to explain yourself. Don't fall for it. Some of the Hoovers are going to be guilt trips. Don't fall for it. And if you don't want to go do Thanksgiving with your family, you are under no obligation to do so. Go do what you want. Either have Thanksgiving by yourself, or go over to friends, or leave town, or stay in town, lock the doors, shut the doors, don't answer the doors. So there it is. Anyway, this is a great article. This is a great magazine that has a lot of good stuff on narcissists in here. I was really surprised. So this is the December issue of the Psychology Today. Pick it up. It's all about boundaries. It also talks about how people have to lie and believe it in order to sell their story to other people. That's what narcissists do, and psychopaths. So, all right. There that is. Okay, kids, I'm going to call it good for today. You guys be good. Take care of yourselves. Go do something fun. Do self-care. Get a good therapist. Do the books. Be good. Take care of you. Drink enough water. You know, that whole thing. All right, kiddos. Have a great week. And as soon as I find my cursor, which is not where it should be, all right, I will talk to you later. Bye.